They didn't just glimpse the impossible, they stood inches from nightmares no human was ever meant to witness alive.
In the frozen silence of the deep, where light dies and logic collapses, these divers came face to face with creatures so colossal, so violently alien, their very existence shatters everything we thought we knew about the ocean. No warning, no escape, only the brutal truth staring back at them, eyes glowing, teeth unfolding like ancient weapons, bodies older than our history and hungrier than our fear. This isn't mythology, this isn't rumor. This is raw, unfiltered reality caught on camera, shaking even the most experienced researchers to their core. These beings didn't hide. They approached, studied, and responded, as if acknowledging our presence for the very first time. One wrong movement, one flicker of light, and humanity could have lost witnesses who lived to tell what should never be told.
Before we dive into the full story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
At 03:14 a.m. near the Teiti Trench, a deep-sea drone accidentally swept its light across a hovering female humanoid form, drifting calmly with three smaller beings clinging to her hands as if guided. The footage shakes slightly, but the details remain unmistakable. Blue-gray skin, ridged facial structure, and long black hair floating like kelp in a current. When the camera beam hits her squarely, she doesn't flinch. Instead, she turns her head with slow, deliberate awareness, as though she had been watching the device far earlier than it detected her. The smaller creatures recoil behind her torso, their movements synchronized, almost rehearsed, before the entire cluster fades backward into the darker layers of the trench. The facial ridges, coral-like chest plating, and extended limb proportions could indicate a pressure-adapted primate offshoot, bone density altered, metabolic systems re-engineered by the abyss, moving heavy as a whale but precise as a knife-edge shadow, echoing ancient Umabozu descriptions from Pacific ship logs that describe silent watchers rising beside wooden vessels. If she wasn't alone, how many more were already staring from the dark beyond the drone's beam? Just before sunrise on the Greenland shelf, a trawler's hull camera picked up a massive scaled shape crawling along the seafloor toward the boat's underside, its jaws opening wider than any known predator recorded in modern oceanographic surveys. Crew voices crackle through the audio, shifting from disbelief to outright panic as the creature cocks its head upward, exposing multiple rows of teeth arranged like interlocking bone blades. Moments later, a vibration hits the hull, sharp, metallic, and powerful enough to rattle unsecured equipment, yet nothing breaks the surface. The recording ends abruptly as the mass slips back into the darker strata beneath the shelf, leaving only sonar echoes behind. The broad skull plating, segmented jaw mechanics, and slow, deliberate locomotion could be signs of a deep-pressure apex feeder built for crushing armored prey, big as a shipping container, but moving silent like a predator drone under ice. Matching fragments of Leviathan accounts noted in forgotten 18th century whaling journals describing unseen impacts that dragged vessels off course. If something that size is hunting upward, what stops it from breaching into our world again? At 2:09 a.m. on Crescent Beach, a single streetlight and a faint security camera caught a bizarre segmented creature forcing itself out of the wet sand, its spined tail twisting violently as if escaping something beneath. The witness who fled can be heard gasping on the audio, struggling between filming more and running for his life. The entity's armored plates shine like lacquered metal when it rears up, mud cascading off each ridge, and for a few seconds its antenna-like feelers sweep the air as though analyzing new atmospheric pressure. Then, in a sudden burst of speed, it drives its lower body back underground and disappears, leaving a gaping displacement in the shore. The layered exoskeleton, vent-like ridges, and burrowing mechanics could indicate a creature evolved near hydrothermal sediment fields, gliding heavy as a whale but jointed like a colossal centipede, aligning eerily with early Kraken interpretations that described entire moving reefs rising unexpectedly from the ocean floor. If it surfaced once, what hidden force drove it upward? And will it return when tides shift? During a violent squall in northern waters, deck footage shows fishermen hauling up what first appears to be a massive ray until it thrashes and reveals a torso disturbingly similar to a humanoid shape. Its mouth opens impossibly wide as it screams. No wind, no machinery, just that raw sound, and its webbed limbs claw at the planks. The crew panics, slipping on the wet boards as one man tries to cut the line. When the cable snaps, the creature flips backward over the rail and vanishes into the heaving gray water, leaving the deck drenched and trembling. Later, analysis of the audio reveals frequency spikes beyond marine mammal range, baffling the reviewing team. The fusion of ray-like fins, humanoid musculature, and flexible skeletal composition could represent a pressure-resistant glider adapted for abyssal currents, moving heavy as a whale, but sharp as a knife-edge shadow, closely matching Ningen reports whispered among Antarctic research crews in the late 20th century. If the ocean reclaimed it so violently, was it fleeing from us, or retreating to warn whatever waits below? A submersible scanning the mid-Atlantic rift illuminated a cavern opening and found itself face-to-face with something that should not exist. A reptilian head ringed with tentacles, each patterned with glowing blue spots that pulsed in rhythmic waves. For several seconds, the creature doesn't attack or flee. It simply studies the probe with unsettling calm, tentacles curling slightly as if tasting the current. When the operator adjusts the floodlight, the being retreats into the fissure, dragging its luminescent appendages behind it until only drifting particles remain. Sonar attempts to track it fail instantly, as though the creature dissolved into the rock itself. The hybrid of cephalopod biomechanics and reptilian cranial structure could indicate convergent evolution within isolated abyssal caverns, its bioluminescent nodes functioning as communication or luring signals, gliding silent like a predator drone under ice, aligning with Lusca legends that once described living caves, swallowing divers whole. What level of intelligence stared back at the camera, and why did it wait for the light to find it first? Footage from a storm-tossed vessel off the Kamchatka peninsula captured a sudden, violent breach as a colossal black-skinned head erupted beside the hull, jaws opening to reveal long, tapered teeth dripping with almost tar-dark water. The anglers stumble back, some screaming, some frozen in shock, as the creature rises just enough to expose its maw before sinking again with a force that rocks the entire boat. When they replay the video later, the teeth appear articulated like flexible harpoons, designed not only to pierce but to hold. The final frames show turbulent black water, then nothing. The rubbery dermal texture, disproportionate jaw span, and apex predator dentition could indicate a deep pressure feeder adapted for crushing armored prey, big as a shipping container but rising with the precision of a silent torpedo, fitting eerily with Leviathan-type anomalies documented in early Tsarist naval reports describing unexplained hull impacts in calm waters. If what they filmed was only its head, how immense is the unseen body still moving beneath them? The diver's body camera recorded the moment a massive pale spider-like organism crawled silently across the sediment, its legs moving with a slow, almost mechanical precision. Unlike any known crustacean, it did not flee or display defensive behavior. Instead, it paused directly in front of the diver as if assessing him with its cluster of black, bead-like eyes. The creature's abdomen expanded and contracted rhythmically, suggesting respiration rather than buoyancy control. When the diver extended a gloved hand, the organism responded by lifting two front limbs, mimicking the motion in a way that seemed disturbingly intentional. After several seconds, it scuttled backward with unsettling grace and vanished beneath a ridge of rock without kicking up sediment, impossibly smooth. The limb segmentation, airtight exoskeleton sheen, and unhurried deliberate movement could point to a deep-pressure arthropod lineage adapted to pitch-black trenches, moving heavy as a boulder crab but coordinated like a stealth drone, eerily matching rare 19th-century Lusca lore claiming pale walking shells that observe divers rather than hunting them. If it approached calmly this time, how would it behave if it decided the diver wasn't a curiosity but prey? Footage from a deep expedition diver shows a titanic serpentine shape curving through the water with shocking fluidity, its bioluminescent eyes fixing directly on the diver's flashlight. The creature's head alone is the size of a small submersible, armored with overlapping plates that glint whenever the light touches them. As it closes the distance, its long whisker-like tendrils sway independently, sampling the current or sensing electrical impulses. A second, even larger shape moves behind it in the gloom, suggesting a pair or possibly a hunting formation. Instead of attacking, the foremost serpent veers upward, spiraling around the diver in a vast loop, creating a vortex that nearly pulls him off balance. Its plated cranial architecture, electroreceptive whiskers, and immense lateral undulation could indicate a deep-pressure apex predator evolved for silent dominance, big as a freight train, but maneuvering like a ribbon in the tide, aligning with ancient Leviathan depictions once dismissed as exaggerated sailor fantasies. If two were visible on the camera, how many remain just beyond the reach of artificial light? A research drone recorded an enormous glowing-eyed creature emerging from total blackness, its teeth reflecting the light in jagged, needle-sharp rows. Its skin appears slick and patterned with faint dots that brighten and dim rhythmically, as if responding to the drone's presence. For 20 long seconds, it approaches without accelerating, simply gliding closer and closer until the frame is filled entirely by its gaping mouth. The drone's pressure sensors spike violently just before the feed cuts to static. Later analysis confirms the machine was crushed, not lost to pressure or malfunction. A physical force folded its frame. The creature's adaptive bioluminescent nodes, elongated jaw hinges, and slow, confident glide could signify a deep-rift ambush predator with a pressure-resistant musculoskeletal system, moving silent like a missile beneath ice and matching mythical Umabozu tales of glowing eyes appearing before entire vessels vanished. If it destroyed a steel-cased drone without effort, what chance would a human diver have if it rose again? Fishermen working in rough weather hauled up a writhing creature unlike any documented marine life. Humanoid torso, eel-tail lower body, and wing fins that whipped violently as it screeched. Its mouth opened almost to the chest, exposing double rows of crooked, translucent teeth. Several crew members instinctively grabbed hooks and poles to restrain it as the net tore under its thrashing. The creature's eyes rolled wildly, not in panic but in agitation, as though it recognized it wasn't in its natural environment. When a crewman cut the net, it launched itself over the railing with a powerful twist, splashing into the dark water and vanishing instantly. Its triple-jointed fins, hyper-flexible spine, and amphibious musculature could indicate a transitional deep-sea hybrid species adapted for both benthic hunting and surface breaching, moving heavy as a seal but twisting like a serpent, echoing fragments of Ningen sightings recorded unofficially by Japanese trawlers. If it can leap aboard a vessel, how many times has it done so without humans realizing what pulled sailors overboard? Night deck footage shows a giant squid-like creature rising dramatically from the depths, its enormous eye reflecting the boat's spotlight like a polished sphere. Unlike typical squid, its mantle extends into a hardened crest, while its tentacles seem prehensile, curling around the edge of the vessel with alarming dexterity. The crew shouts and retreats as one tentacle grips the railing, suction cups contracting with audible pops. After a tense pause, the creature releases its hold and sinks back below, leaving only turbulent foam behind. Reviewing the footage later, the team realizes the creature wasn't attacking, it was anchoring itself to observe them. The reinforced mantle crest, oversized ocular cavity, and deliberate tentacle grip might suggest an evolutionary shift toward oxygen-efficient ambush strategies, big as a compact car but rising as quietly as a drifting cloud, paralleling Kraken accounts in Old Norse logs that spoke of immense eyes watching ships before storms. If it was only observing, what behavior would trigger it to strike instead of retreat? A diver suspended in open water captured something incomprehensibly large emerging from the abyss. A pale limb, human-like but impossibly massive, followed by a second limb stretching outward as though feeling for currents. Then the face appears, smooth, expressionless, almost infant-like despite its monstrous scale. Instead of attacking, it simply drifts upward, gazing blankly at the diver. Its slow movements distort the water around it, tugging the diver gently out of position. The creature continues rising until only faint outlines remain, submerging again into a deeper blue gradient as silently as it arrived. Its pale dermal gelatin layer, elongated limb proportions, and slow, buoyant ascent could signify a deep-dwelling giant adapted to minimal light and extreme pressure. drifting heavy as a bloated whale yet controlled like a precision-guided balloon, echoing early descriptions of Antarctic ninja encounters whispered among research stations. If a being that size rises so silently, what else could be moving beneath it even deeper? A diver's helmet cam recorded the moment a colossal creature surged from below, its mouth opening wider than the diver's entire field of view, ringed by jagged teeth that looked more like ivory spikes than biological structures. The creature didn't strike immediately. Rather, it hovered in place, jaws trembling with a low-frequency vibration that rattled the diver's equipment. Murky light from the surface beams down through its teeth like a cathedral window, illuminating streaks of algae on its jaw and the faint twitch of gills hidden beneath armored folds. For several seconds, the diver remains frozen, held still by either fear or the realization that any motion might trigger a feeding reflex in the beast. The enormous cranial ridges, fang-like dental protrusions, and oscillating jaw tremor could suggest a pressure-evolved apex organism built to swallow prey whole, moving massive as a submarine, but reactive as a coiled serpent, eerily consistent with ancient Leviathan accounts describing a mouth big enough to swallow daylight. If this was only its mouth, what unimaginable bulk remained unseen beneath the diver? A submersible's porthole camera captured a vast, serpentine body gliding silently through a clouded green column of water, its tail sweeping past like a drifting continent. The pilot whispers in shock, unsure whether to power on floodlights or remain in darkness. Through the murk, the creature's elongated neck moves in slow, deliberate arcs, as though scanning for vibrations or listening for mechanical activity. The sub's exterior creaks under an unknown pressure wave as the creature's bulk displaces the water around it, distorting nearby particles into spiraling currents. Just as its head begins to emerge, the animal turns away, vanishing into a faint, shimmering trail. Its elongated vertebral structure, flexible neck, and massive hydrodynamic profile could signify a deep surviving relic lineage, something plesiosaurian in form but adapted for crushing pressure, gliding heavy as a freight barge yet smooth as a manta ray, resembling descriptions from early subnautical explorers who spoke of gray shapes longer than the horizon. If it chose not to confront the submersible, was it avoiding conflict or simply circling back later from above? On a commercial fishing vessel, a crewman held up a grotesque cephalopod-like organism with a skull-shaped crown and 8 elongated limbs dangling like sentient ropes. The creature's beak clicked rhythmically beneath loose folds of flesh, producing a hollow tapping sound that unsettled even seasoned fishermen. Though limp in the man's hands, the limbs twitched intermittently, revealing suction pads arranged in unsettling patterns, almost geometric. When another fisherman approached for a closer look, the creature's head snapped upward, inhaling sharply as though tasting the air. Moments later, the crew dropped it overboard out of instinct, watching it sink upright, limbs unfolding as it descended. Its domed cranial plating, hyperelastic tentacles, and geometric suction array could imply an evolutionary branch optimized for sensory mapping, drifting soft as jelly but anchoring like a grappling hook, eerily aligning with old maritime legends describing Kraken hatchlings taken aboard nets before calling larger adults to the surface. If this specimen was juvenile, what size and intelligence does an adult possess? A deep-sea rover caught footage of a bizarre striped entity sprinting across the seabed, kicking up volcanic silt as its multi-jointed legs fired in rapid sequence. Its exoskeleton gleamed under the artificial lights, revealing spine-like protrusions and 2 sets of claws adapted for digging or slicing. The creature paused for a moment and rotated its upper body independently from its lower, scanning the rover with an array of twitching mandibles. Without warning, it burrowed into a soft patch of sediment so quickly that the camera's autofocus couldn't adjust in time, leaving only a collapsing plume of dust behind. The dual body rotation, reinforced limb architecture, and immediate burrowing response could indicate an ultra-adapted scavenger species evolved around hydrothermal vents, sprinting with the precision of a mechanical spider, but vanishing like a collapsing sinkhole, resembling cryptic creatures described in lost Polynesian divelogs as striped shadows that outran the bubbles. An underwater surveillance drone captured a chilling image of a face, smooth, pale, and disturbingly human-like, hovering just beyond visibility. Its expression was eerily neutral, with bulbous black eyes that reflected the drone's light like polished stones. The entity appeared to move without disturbing the surrounding water, as if its body mass was distributed in a way that negated turbulence. When the drone advanced a few meters, the face slid backward at the exact same speed, maintaining distance with uncanny precision. Suddenly, the eye reflections blinked out, and the face dissolved back into the murk. Its gelatinous facial structure, unsupported cranial shape, and zero-wake movement could signify a deep-adapted pseudo-humanoid organism capable of dispersing its body like particulate matter, drifting weightless as fog but watching with predatory stillness, aligning with mythical Umabozu tales describing faces without bodies that followed boats by matching their pace. At an estimated depth, far beyond standard recreational diving safety limits, a group of divers recorded a monstrous silhouette rising from below, a creature so large its outline spanned the entire camera frame. Its mouth opened like an underwater chasm, rows of luminous white teeth catching ambient light as it drifted upward with terrifying slowness. The divers froze, suspended in a cloud of their own bubbles, while the behemoth's gill plates flared like massive sails. For a moment, the creature seemed to inspect them, shifting its bulk with the calm confidence of something that has never known a rival. Its enormous dermal plating, cavernous jaw structure, and methodical ascent could indicate a pressure-forged gigantism unseen in modern taxonomy, rising heavy as a collapsing glacier, yet steering with the control of a submarine, recalling ancient seafarers' warnings of a Lusca larger than islands. A diver's helmet cam recorded an enormous angler-like creature drifting out of absolute darkness, its glowing lure swaying inches from the lens like a hypnotic pendulum. Its skin looked hardened and stone-textured, pitted with scars that suggested both age and violent encounters. As the lure brightened, the creature's jaw opened wider and wider until the diver's entire world became framed by impossibly long teeth. It didn't attack immediately. Instead, it hovered with a predatory patience, blinking only once with a slow grinding motion of cartilage. Its bioluminescent lure control, cavernous jaw hinge, and stone-thick dermal plating could indicate a deep-pressure predator optimized for stealth feeding, heavy as a drifting boulder but precise as a surgical blade, echoing early accounts of Ningen predators that used floating lights to draw prey into their mouths. At dawn, dozens of onlookers recorded a towering, multi-limbed entity rising from fog-thick lake water, its tentacles dragging through the mist like roots tearing free from soil. The creature's silhouette loomed over boats filled with stunned spectators. No thrashing, no roar, only the groaning sound of water displacing around its immense mass. It stood motionless for several seconds, as if adjusting to air after a long absence, while its upper limbs curled inward like antennae, absorbing atmospheric signals. The fog around it vibrated faintly, forming circular disturbances on the water's surface. Its towering limb-to-body ratio, atmospheric sensitivity, and mist-dependent emergence could suggest an amphibious colossus, adapted for rare surfacing events, rising heavy as a drowned titan, yet balanced like a crane, eerily aligned with ancient Lusca myths describing fog giants that walked out of lakes during seasonal temperature shifts. Two fishermen posed stiffly with a creature unlike anything cataloged. A monstrous fish with a cracked bark-like hide and rows of needle teeth jutting outward like splinters. Its eyes were small and sunk deep, giving the impression that it evolved to detect pressure rather than light. Frozen water clung to its spines, suggesting it had been hauled from a depth where temperatures plummet far below survivable limits for surface dwellers. Despite being lifeless, its jaw twitched once during recording, causing both fishermen to recoil instinctively as if the creature remembered the world above for a moment. Its hardened osteoderm armor, frost-bound tissue, and retractable splinter teeth could indicate a deep glacial predator built for crushing ice-bound crustaceans, heavy as a frozen log yet snapping with whip-like reflexes, evoking early Viking logbooks describing ice demons pulled from black fjords. A submarine circular viewport recorded a massive, pale-jawed creature pressing its maw against the glass. teeth layered like transparent stalactites catching the sub's emergency light. The beast's entire head dwarfed the porthole, and its breath-like currents fogged the glass from the outside, despite being underwater. The pilot scrambled backward as the creature's gums rippled, revealing additional rows of teeth beneath a membrane of gelatinous flesh. Its multi-layered dentition, suction-based feeding grooves, and sub-freezing thermal presence could indicate an abyssal super-predator evolved to detect heat signatures, moving heavy as a glacier shelf but striking like a hydraulic press, paralleling old Soviet dive journals that referenced teeth beyond teeth. Off a storm-torn coastline, a monstrous head burst from the churning sea, jaws splitting into ragged triangles surrounded by foaming water. The camera operator stumbles as the creature lunges, its teeth scraping against the hull with a grinding shriek that sounds almost metallic. Bloody foam spills across the deck as the animal snaps at the air, each exhale producing a low-frequency rumble that vibrates through the boat's railings. After a final surge, it crashes back beneath the waves, leaving the surface scarred with bubbles and streaks of deep red. Its reinforced cranial spikes, asymmetric jaw structure, and violent breaching behavior could indicate an apex ambush feeder built for upward strikes, heavy as a cargo container but accelerating like a torpedo, matching old sailor folklore of the Leviathan, known for swallowing entire lifeboats in a single upward burst. Divers exploring a quiet reef captured a vast serpentine creature gliding above the seabed, its back covered in intricate appendages resembling long fronds or tendrils. Each tendril waved independently, almost like individual organisms attached to a larger host. The creature moved without disturbing the sand beneath, as though it floated on a cushion of displaced water. Its elongated body curled with hypnotic grace before disappearing into a deeper trench, leaving only swaying currents behind. Its fractal dorsal tendrils, ultra-flexible spinal column, and silent displacement could indicate a colonial superorganism functioning as one body, moving long as a commuter train but soft as drifting kelp, echoing Polynesian accounts of reef serpents whose backs move like forests. A diver's camera captured a monstrous silhouette emerging from the mid-water gloom, a creature so large its mouth alone eclipsed the diver entirely. Its eyes glowed faintly like submerged embers, illuminating the water around it with an unnatural halo. As the diver drifted backward, the creature adjusted its trajectory with terrifying calm, tail sweeping once like a slow pendulum. It didn't lunge. It didn't accelerate. It simply followed, closing the gap inch by inch, the silence broken only by the diver's rising breath. Its massive cranium, pressure-resistant jaw curvature, and eerie glide pattern could indicate an ancient pelagic apex designed for deep ambush strikes, heavy as a drowned mountain but maneuvering as delicately as a manta, aligning disturbingly well with forgotten sailor records describing Leviathan forms that followed without feeding as though choosing. On a storm-dark night, a colossal pale cephalopod rose from the raging sea, its glowing eyes piercing the deck lights as dozens of onlookers froze in disbelief. Tentacles spread outward like living antennae, lifting above the water before coiling inward with remarkable control. Some people screamed, others filmed, but the creature never advanced. It hovered above the waves, suspended in a moment that defied both gravity and reason. The water churned violently beneath it, as though something larger still was supporting it from below. Its impossibly buoyant mass, atmospheric luminosity, and synchronized tentacle articulation could point to a highly evolved cephalopod species capable of surface hover maneuvers, rising heavy as a cargo crane, yet balanced like a floating lantern, reminiscent of ancient Lusca myths describing sky-touching squid erupting from storms. Deep sea lights illuminated a towering, ghost-pale creature striding across the seabed on impossibly thin limbs. Its movements were too smooth, jointed like a mechanical spider, but disturbingly organic in structure. Each leg touched the ground delicately, barely disturbing silt, as if it weighed nothing despite standing several meters tall. Its bulbous head swayed side to side like a scanning sensor, eyeless yet aware of the camera's presence. When the operator tilted the light beam upward, the creature froze, not in fear, but in calculated observation, before gliding sideways into a trench with unnatural precision. Its elongated leg span, low weight distribution, and symmetrical scanning posture could suggest a benthic apex designed for silent locomotion on unstable seafloors, moving as tall as a giraffe, but lighter than a drifting jelly. Eerily similar to Polynesian legends of pale striders whose steps make no clouds. Footage shows a nightmarish fusion of cephalopod and reptile, an octopus-bodied predator with a snarling, tooth-filled head perched atop writhing tentacles. It scuttled across the sand with unnatural speed, its tentacles gripping the ground like fingers. When the light beam hit it, the creature paused and lifted its head in a slow, deliberate tilt, revealing a mouth lined with rows of razor-like teeth. It didn't flee, it didn't attack, it simply watched, each tentacle curling defensively as if calculating escape routes and attack angles simultaneously. Its hybrid jaw musculature, multi-limbed coordination, and fast benthic movement could represent a deep-pressure organism evolved through convergent predation traits, moving heavy as a crab but striking like a barracuda, echoing ancient Kraken brood myths describing the spawn that crawls before the mother rises. A diver's lamp revealed a vast, drifting organism with dozens of elongated tentacle-like filaments hanging from its face like a living curtain. The creature hovered inches from the diver, observing with a single pale, unblinking eye. Its beard-like tendrils waved independently, brushing the water as though tasting chemical signals. When the diver moved slightly, the creature mirrored the motion, tilting its enormous head with slow, methodical grace. It emitted a low vibration that made the diver's chest tremble, then drifted upward and away, disappearing into deeper blackness as silently as it arrived. Its elongated facial tendrils, buoyancy-neutral movement, and resonant communication hum could indicate a deep pelagic giant designed for sensory mapping rather than aggression, massive as a whale but gentle as drifting kelp, aligning with obscure accounts of bearded giants encountered by early bathysphere expeditions. A diver exploring a cave system filmed a pale humanoid creature floating upright in the water, motionless except for the faint ripple of its tail. Its expression was eerily neutral, eyes wide and reflective like polished stones. When the diver aimed the light directly at its face, the being blinked slowly, once, before raising one elongated hand as if mimicking human curiosity. Its skin appeared almost translucent, revealing faint lines of veins beneath the surface. After several tense seconds, it drifted backward into the darkness, bending its body seamlessly like a ribbon in the current. Its elongated limbs, translucent epidermis, and upright hovering stance could indicate a deep cavern sentinel species adapted to minimal light and quiet observation, moving as silently as a ghost but reacting with precision to external stimuli, reminiscent of ancient Umabozu tales depicting white watchers beneath cliffs. If it watches divers so calmly, has it already studied humans far longer than we realize? The deeper we venture into the unknown, the more we are reminded of how little we truly understand about the world beneath us. The truth is simpler and far more unsettling. The ocean remains a frontier of secrets, a vast living library where chapters are still being written by forces in forms we can barely imagine. And maybe that is what draws us in, not fear, but awe. Awe at the thought that ancient legends might hold fragments of truth. Awe at the possibility that evolution still has surprises waiting in the dark. Awe at the realization that, compared to the scale of the deep, we are small, temporary visitors in a far older world. Like the video, drop a comment with the creature that shocked you most, and don't forget to subscribe to the Mystery Footage Uncovered channel for more deep-sea revelations and unexplained phenomena.